The night is dark, and in that darkness, there is a child sitting alone in their room. This child is not doing anything wrong. They are not crying, not screaming, not even making a sound. They are simply sitting there in the corner of their bed, hugging their knees to their chest, staring at the wall. Their eyes are open, but they are looking at something that no one else can see. They are looking at the void, at the emptiness that has become their constant companion, at the silence that speaks louder than any word ever could. This is not a scene from a horror movie. This is the reality of millions of children around the world who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them. This is the reality that hides behind closed doors, behind perfect smiles, behind the facade of a normal family. It is a wound that does not bleed externally, but inside, in the deepest chambers of the heart, it bleeds continuously, drop by drop, day after day. The psychology of such children is a complex labyrinth of emotions, contradictions, and silent screams. It is a world that most people will never understand because they have never had to live in it. They have never had to pretend to be happy when they are dying inside. They have never had to earn love that was never freely given. They have never had to shrink themselves to fit into a space that was never meant for them. When we talk about family, we often think of warmth, safety, and unconditional love. We imagine parents who hug their children, who tell them they are proud of them, who are there for them in their darkest moments. But for some children, the word family carries a different weight. For them, family is a battlefield where they must constantly fight for a place that should have been theirs from the beginning. It is a house where they are always guests, never truly belonging, always walking on eggshells, always trying to be good enough. The stepfather who does not love is not always obvious. Sometimes he is not cruel in obvious ways. He does not hit, he does not yell, he does not openly express hatred. Instead, his rejection is subtle, almost imperceptible, like a slow poison that seeps into every aspect of the child's life. It is in the way he never looks directly into the child's eyes. It is in the way his smile never reaches them. It is in the way he remembers the birthdays of his biological children but forgets theirs. It is in the way he talks over them, dismisses their opinions, and treats their achievements as insignificant. This form of emotional neglect is perhaps the most devastating of all, because it leaves no visible marks. The child cannot point to a bruise and say, "See, he did this to me." Instead, they are left with a vague sense that something is wrong with them, that they are not worthy of love, that they are somehow fundamentally flawed. They grow up carrying this burden without ever being able to articulate it, without ever being able to put into words the weight that presses down on their chest every single day. The child's mind becomes a prison, but also a master of illusion. They learn to hide their pain behind a mask of indifference. They learn to become invisible, to not ask for anything, to not expect anything. They learn to be small, to take up as little space as possible, because any attempt to be seen, to be heard, to be loved, is met with rejection or indifference. And so, they retreat into themselves, building walls that will later become fortresses against the world, but also prisons from which they cannot escape. In the following blocks, we will delve deep into this psychological landscape. We will explore what these children feel, how their inner world is shaped by years of emotional deprivation, and how this shapes their entire lives. We will look at practical ways to help them, both from the perspective of professionals and from the perspective of anyone who might encounter such a child. We will examine how this early trauma echoes into adulthood, creating patterns that can sabotage relationships, careers, and the ability to experience joy. And finally, we will offer hope, because even the deepest wounds can heal, even the darkest nights give way to dawn. But first, we must understand the darkness. We must sit with it, feel it, and let it teach us what it has to teach. Only then can we begin to find the light. The heart of a child is like a garden. If you plant seeds of love, care, and attention, it will bloom into a beautiful, vibrant space filled with flowers of confidence, self-worth, and the ability to love others. But if you neglect that garden, if you allow weeds of rejection, indifference, and cruelty to take root, it becomes a barren wasteland where nothing can grow. This is the emotional landscape of a child who grows up with a stepfather who does not love them. The first and most pervasive feeling is a deep, aching loneliness. This is not the ordinary loneliness that everyone experiences from time to time. This is a fundamental loneliness, a sense of existing in a different dimension from everyone else, of being fundamentally separate from the human race. The child feels as if they are watching life through a glass window, able to see it but never truly participating in it. They are surrounded by people but feel utterly alone. This loneliness becomes so familiar that it starts to feel like home, even though it is the most uncomfortable place in the world. Alongside loneliness comes a pervasive sense of unworthiness. The child begins to believe on a deep cellular level that there is something wrong with them. If their stepfather does not love them, if he treats them differently from his biological children, then there must be a reason. And the only explanation their young mind can come up with is that they are not good enough. They are not lovable. They are somehow defective. This belief becomes the foundation upon which their entire self-image is built, and it is incredibly difficult to dismantle later in life. The child also experiences what psychologists call ambivalent anxiety. They want love, they crave it with every fiber of their being, but they have learned that love is dangerous. Love means vulnerability, and vulnerability means being hurt. So they are caught in a terrible paradox. They desperately want to be loved, but they are terrified of it at the same time. They pull close and push away in equal measure, confusing everyone around them and confusing themselves even more. Rage is another emotion that simmers beneath the surface, often hidden so deeply that the child is not even aware of its existence. This rage is not the explosive, obvious anger that we typically think of. It is a cold, smoldering resentment that turns inward, becoming self-hatred. The child is angry at their stepfather for not loving them, angry at their mother for bringing this person into their life, angry at the world for being so unfair. But since they cannot express this anger without risking even more rejection, they turn it against themselves. They become their own worst enemy, their own harshest critic. Shame is yet another companion on this emotional journey. Shame is different from guilt. Guilt says, "I did something bad." Shame says, "I am bad." And this is what the child comes to believe. They are ashamed of their existence, ashamed of their needs, ashamed of wanting to be loved. They carry this shame like a heavy cloak that weighs them down and makes it impossible for them to lift their heads high. They learn to be ashamed of who they are, and this shame becomes so internalized that they cannot imagine anyone ever loving them for who they truly are. Fear is perhaps the most constant companion of all. There is the fear of abandonment, which is always present, always lurking in the background. The child lives in terror of being thrown out, of being sent away, of being told that they are not wanted. There is the fear of making mistakes, because mistakes bring punishment or withdrawal of the minimal attention they receive. There is the fear of being seen, because being seen means being judged, and being judged means being found wanting. And there is the existential fear, the deep terror of being fundamentally alone in the universe, of not belonging anywhere. What makes this emotional cocktail so devastating is that the child has no frame of reference for anything different. They do not know that love is supposed to feel safe. They do not know that parents are supposed to support and encourage them. They do not know that their feelings are valid and important. Everything they feel is dismissed or ignored, so they learn to dismiss and ignore their own feelings as well. They become strangers to themselves, unable to identify their own emotions, unable to trust their own perceptions. The child also experiences what psychologists call complex trauma. This is not the result of a single traumatic event, but rather of prolonged, ongoing trauma that happens within the context of relationships that should have been safe. The child's nervous system becomes dysregulated as it tries to cope with the constant stress of walking on eggshells. They may experience anxiety, depression, dissociation, and a host of other symptoms that can be difficult to diagnose and even more difficult to treat. In their relationships with others, these children often become people pleasers. They learn that the only way to get any attention or approval is to make themselves useful, to anticipate others' needs, to never ask for anything. They become experts at reading other people's moods, at adjusting their behavior to avoid conflict, at becoming whatever others want them to be. But underneath this accommodating exterior, there is a profound emptiness, a sense that they do not know who they really are, because they have never been allowed to just be. The feelings we have described do not exist in isolation. They intertwine and feed off each other in a continuous cycle of pain. The loneliness breeds unworthiness, which breeds shame, which intensifies the loneliness. The fear breeds anxiety, which makes the child withdraw, which increases their isolation. It is a downward spiral that can feel impossible to escape, and the child, with their limited resources and developing brain, has no way to break free on their own. Understanding these emotions is the first step toward helping. When we understand what these children are going through, we can begin to see their behavior not as a problem to be fixed, but as a survival mechanism, a way of coping with an impossible situation. We can begin to meet them with compassion instead of judgment, with patience instead of frustration. And we can begin to offer them something they have never had before, a safe space to feel, to be, to heal. To understand the inner world of a child who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, we must imagine a house that was never built properly from the foundation up. The walls are there, the roof is there, but the structure is fundamentally flawed. Cracks run through every room, the plumbing leaks, the wiring is faulty, and at any moment the whole thing could come crashing down. Yet the child has no other house to live in, so they learn to navigate its dangers, to avoid the places where the floorboards creak, to sleep in the corners that seem most stable. The inner world of such a child is characterized by a profound sense of not belonging. Every room in their mental house is permeated by the feeling that this place is not for them. They are intruders in their own life, waiting for the moment when someone will discover them and throw them out. Even when they are in a safe space, even when they are surrounded by people who care about them, this underlying sense of being an outsider never quite goes away. It is the background radiation of their inner landscape, always present, always humming beneath the surface. This inner world is also marked by hypervigilance. The child's senses are always on high alert, scanning for signs of danger, for cues that someone is angry or disappointed. They become experts at reading microexpressions, at detecting subtle changes in tone of voice, at sensing the mood of a room within seconds of entering it. This hypervigilance was originally a survival mechanism, a way to predict and avoid the stepfather's moods and potential rejection. But it becomes so ingrained that it continues into adulthood, making relaxation almost impossible. Even in safe situations, the child's nervous system is preparing for a threat that may never come. The inner dialogue of such a child is often harsh and self-critical. They have internalized the voice of their stepfather, and now that voice speaks to them constantly from inside their own head. You're not good enough. You'll never amount to anything. Why do you even try? This internal critic is relentless, never satisfied, always finding fault. It becomes the lens through which the child views themselves and the world. Every mistake is catastrophic evidence of their inadequacy. Every success is dismissed as luck or accident. The child learns to be their own worst enemy, perpetuating the cycle of rejection and self-rejection. Dissociation is another common feature of this inner world. When the pain becomes too intense, the child learns to check out, to separate from their body and their feelings. They may feel as if they are watching themselves from outside, as if they are floating above the scene. This dissociation serves a protective function, allowing them to survive experiences that would otherwise overwhelm them. But it comes at a cost. The child becomes disconnected from their own body, from their own feelings, from the present moment. They live in a perpetual state of being here but not here, present but not present. The inner world is also characterized by a profound ambivalence toward relationships. On one level, the child craves connection more than anything. On another level, they are terrified of it, because relationships have taught them that the people who are supposed to love them will hurt them instead. They want to trust, but they have learned that trust leads to betrayal. They want to open up, but they have learned that vulnerability means being wounded. So they keep one foot out the door at all times, ready to leave before they can be left, ready to reject before they can be rejected. This inner landscape is also marked by a deep sense of confusion. The child often has no clear understanding of what happened to them or why. They know they were hurt, but the wounds were invisible. They know something was wrong, but they cannot point to a single event that was clearly wrong. This confusion is extremely disorienting. The child's reality is constantly being undermined. When they try to express their feelings, they are told they are overreacting. When they try to stand up for themselves, they are told they are ungrateful. So they begin to doubt their own perceptions, their own memories, their own sanity. This gaslighting, whether intentional or not, leaves them unable to trust their own inner experience. The inner world also contains a secret garden of hope, even if it is buried deep beneath layers of pain. Somewhere in a hidden corner of their psyche, the child still holds on to the belief that someday someone will love them. They still dream of being seen, of being valued, of being told that they matter. This hope is fragile and often inaccessible to conscious thought, but it persists, like a small flame that refuses to be extinguished. It is this hope that makes healing possible, even when it seems impossible. How does this inner world reflect on their life as a whole? In every possible way. In their relationships, they struggle to trust and to be intimate. In their careers, they may self-sabotage when success seems imminent. In their mental health, they are more susceptible to anxiety, depression, and a host of other conditions. In their physical health, the chronic stress of their childhood can lead to a wide range of health problems. In their ability to enjoy life, they may find themselves unable to experience joy, even when good things happen. The inner world shapes the outer world, and for these children, the shaping has been done by pain. The inner world is also characterized by what psychologists call arrested development. Certain aspects of the child's emotional growth were frozen at the moment when the trauma occurred. They may be chronologically adults, but emotionally still that small child sitting in the corner of their bed, waiting for love that never came. This arrested development manifests in adult relationships, in emotional responses, in the ability to cope with stress. The child inside is still there, still wounded, still waiting. Understanding this inner world is essential for anyone who wants to help. When we understand what is happening inside the mind and heart of such a child, we can begin to see their behavior in a different light. We can see the hypervigilance not as paranoia, but as survival. We can see the people-pleasing not as manipulation, but as a desperate attempt to earn love. We can see the withdrawal not as aloofness, but as self-protection. And with this understanding, we can begin to offer what these children so desperately need: safety, consistency, and unconditional positive regard. When a child's wounds are invisible, it is easy to overlook their pain, to assume that they are fine because they seem fine. But the wounds are there, real and devastating, even if they cannot be seen. Helping such a child requires us to look beyond the surface, to listen with more than our ears, and to offer something that may be completely foreign to their experience: unconditional love and support. The first and most important step in helping is recognition. We must recognize that the child is hurting, even when they do not show it. We must recognize that their behavior, which may be difficult or challenging, is a survival mechanism, not a character flaw. We must recognize that they are doing the best they can with the resources they have, even when their best looks very different from what we might expect. Once recognition is established, the next step is to create safety. For a child who has never felt safe, this is revolutionary. Safety means consistency, predictability, and follow-through. It means that when we say we are going to do something, we do it. It means that we do not yell, we do not threaten, we do not withdraw love as punishment. It means that we establish clear boundaries and enforce them calmly and consistently. Over time, this consistency begins to rewire the child's nervous system, teaching it that the world can be safe, that not all adults are the same. Validation is another crucial element of healing. The child's feelings are real and valid, even if they seem disproportionate to the situation. When we dismiss their feelings, we are confirming their deepest fear, that their inner experience does not matter, that they do not matter. Instead, we must acknowledge their feelings, name them, and normalize them. It makes sense that you feel angry. Anyone would feel angry in that situation. I can see that you're scared. It's okay to be scared. This validation is like water for a parched plant. It allows the child to begin to trust their own perceptions and feelings. Building self-esteem is a long and gradual process, but it can be started early. We must catch the child doing things right and praise specific behaviors rather than offering vague compliments. I noticed that you shared your toy with your friend. That was very kind of you. We must help them recognize their strengths and celebrate their achievements, no matter how small. We must avoid comparing them to others and instead help them become the best version of themselves. Slowly, brick by brick, we can help them build a foundation of self-worth that was missing before. Teaching emotional intelligence is also important. Many of these children have been cut off from their emotions for so long that they do not know how to identify or express them. We can help them by naming emotions, both theirs and ours, and by modeling healthy emotional expression. We can teach them that all emotions are acceptable, even if not all behaviors are. We can give them words for what they are feeling, words that may not have existed in their vocabulary before. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated. I can see that you're really excited about this. This emotional education helps them reconnect with a part of themselves that was shut down. Professional help can be invaluable in the healing process. Therapy with a therapist who specializes in childhood trauma can provide a safe space for the child to process their experiences. Therapies such as trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, TFCBT, EMDR, eye movement dissociation and reprocessing, and attachment-based therapy have all been shown to be effective in helping children heal from early trauma. These therapies can help the child make sense of their experiences, develop healthier coping mechanisms, and begin to build more secure attachments. But professional help is not the only path to healing. Community and social support are also crucial. The child needs at least one person in their life who sees them, who believes in them, who consistently shows up for them. This might be a teacher, a coach, a relative, a neighbor, or a family friend. This person does not need to be a mental health professional. They just need to be reliable, caring, and present. The relationship with this person can be a powerful antidote to the poison of the child's early experiences. Expressive therapies such as art therapy, music therapy, and play therapy can also be helpful. These modalities allow the child to express and process emotions that they may not be able to put into words. A child who cannot talk about their trauma might be able to draw it, sing it, or act it out. These therapies work with the child's natural language of play and creativity, meeting them where they are. It is important to remember that healing is not linear. There will be setbacks, regressions, and difficult moments. The child may push away the very help they need, testing whether the adults in their life will abandon them like the stepfather did. We must be prepared for this, and we must not take the rejection personally. We must keep showing up, keep offering safety and validation, even when it seems like our efforts are not working. Trust takes a long time to build, and we must be patient. Finally, helping such a child means being the adult we wish they had had. It means modeling healthy relationships, healthy boundaries, and healthy coping mechanisms. It means loving them unconditionally, even when they make it difficult. It means never giving up on them, even when they seem to have given up on themselves. It means believing in them when they cannot believe in themselves. And it means being patient because healing takes time, sometimes years, sometimes decades. But it is possible. The human spirit is remarkably resilient, and even the deepest wounds can heal with the right care and support. When it comes to communicating with a child who has grown up with a stepfather who did not love them, we must approach with the delicacy of a gardener handling a rare and fragile flower. Such a child has been conditioned to expect rejection, to anticipate harm, to interpret neutral actions as threats. Every word we say, every gesture we make, will be scrutinized and interpreted through this lens of past experience. This does not mean we must walk on eggshells, but it does mean we must be thoughtful, consistent, and patient in our approach. The foundation of all communication with such a child is consistency. We must be the same person in every interaction. We must say what we mean and mean what we say. We must follow through on our promises, no matter how small. If we say we are going to do something, we must do it. If we say we will be there at a certain time, we must be there. This consistency is not just about being reliable, it is about building trust. For a child who has learned that words are empty, that promises are broken, that adults cannot be trusted, our consistency is revolutionary. It teaches them that not all people are the same, that some words can be trusted, that some adults will keep their promises. When we speak to such a child, our tone matters as much as our words. We must speak calmly, warmly, and with genuine interest. We must avoid sarcasm, which can be confusing and hurtful, and we must avoid any tone that might be interpreted as anger, disappointment, or contempt. We must be especially careful with our nonverbal communication, our facial expressions, our body language, our eye contact. These children are hypervigilant. They will notice if our smile does not reach our eyes, if our arms are crossed, if we are looking at our phone while they are talking. We must give them our full attention and let them know that they are important to us. Listening is perhaps the most powerful tool we have. We must listen not just to the words they say, but to the feelings underneath. We must listen without judgment, without trying to fix or advise, without interrupting or dismissing. When they share something with us, we must resist the urge to immediately say what they should do or how they should feel. Instead, we can simply reflect back what we hear. It sounds like that was really hard for you. I can hear how upset you are about this. This kind of reflective listening validates their experience and lets them know that they have been heard. It is crucial to respect their boundaries, even when they are difficult to understand. Such children often have elaborate defense mechanisms, and part of their healing involves learning that they can have boundaries, that they can say no, that their body and their space are their own. When they push us away, we must not chase them aggressively. Instead, we can let them know that we are here if they want to talk, and then give them space. We must not force intimacy or demand access to their inner world. We must wait for them to invite us in, and when they do, we must honor that invitation with gratitude and care. We must also be careful not to play the role of rescuer or savior. While we want to help, we cannot force help upon someone who is not ready to receive it. We must respect their pace and their process, even when it seems frustratingly slow. We must avoid the temptation to fix them or to make their pain go away, because that is not our job and it is not possible. Our job is simply to be present, to offer support, and to witness their journey without trying to control the outcome. When we need to set limits or correct behavior, we must do so in a way that does not attack their sense of self. Instead of saying, "You are being bad," we can say, "That behavior is not acceptable." Instead of criticizing the person, we criticize the behavior. We must make it clear that even when we are unhappy with something they have done, we still care about them and accept them. This distinction between the person and the behavior is crucial for children who have learned that they are fundamentally flawed. We must also be careful with praise. While positive feedback is important, it must be genuine and specific. Empty praise like "good job," without any context, can feel meaningless and even manipulative. Instead, we can praise specific behaviors and point out the effort they put in. I noticed how hard you worked on that project. The detail in your drawing is amazing. We must also be careful not to overpraise, which can feel insincere or can create pressure to constantly perform. Stories can be a powerful tool for communication with these children. We can share stories from our own life, from history, or from literature that illustrate resilience, healing, and the possibility of overcoming adversity. We can read books together that feature characters who face challenges and find ways to cope. Stories provide a safe way to discuss difficult topics because the child can talk about the character's feelings without having to talk about their own. Finally, we must take care of ourselves. Supporting a wounded child is emotionally demanding, and we cannot pour from an empty cup. We must have our own support systems, our own ways of processing our emotions, our own boundaries. We must recognize our own limitations and seek help when we need it. We must remember that we are human, that we will make mistakes, and that making a mistake does not mean we have failed. What matters is that we keep trying, that we keep showing up, that we do not give up. The wounds of childhood do not simply disappear when we grow older. They do not magically heal as we blow out the candles on our birthday cakes or cross the threshold into legal adulthood. Instead, they come with us, shaping our thoughts, our feelings, our relationships, and our choices. For the adult who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, these early experiences cast a long shadow that stretches into every corner of their life. In the realm of intimate relationships, the effects are often most pronounced. These adults may struggle with trust, constantly waiting for their partner to betray them or leave them. They may be drawn to partners who resemble their stepfather, recreating the painful dynamics of their childhood in a subconscious attempt to finally get it right, to finally earn the love that was withheld. Alternatively, they may run from healthy relationships, unable to believe that genuine love is possible, sabotaging connections before they can deepen. They may struggle with intimacy, holding back emotionally even when they desperately want to connect. Their attachment style is often anxious or avoidant, creating a painful push-pull dynamic that can leave both partners exhausted and hurt. Self-esteem issues that began in childhood often persist into adulthood. These adults may struggle with a deep-seated belief that they are not good enough, not worthy of success, not deserving of happiness. They may undermine their own achievements, dismissing compliments and attributing success to luck or circumstance. They may be perfectionists, believing that if they can just be perfect enough, they will finally be worthy of love. Or they may have given up entirely, believing that effort is pointless because they will fail anyway. This poor self-esteem affects every aspect of life, from career choices to friendships to health behaviors. Anxiety and depression are common companions for these adults. The hypervigilance they developed as children often translates into chronic anxiety, a constant state of watchfulness and worry. They may struggle with racing thoughts, difficulty relaxing, and a pervasive sense of dread. Depression can set in when the accumulated pain becomes too heavy to carry, when hope finally runs out, when the belief that things will get better seems impossible to maintain. These mental health challenges can be debilitating, affecting work, relationships, and the ability to experience joy. In the workplace, these adults may struggle with assertiveness and self-advocacy. They may accept too much work, unable to say no, desperate to prove their worth through productivity. They may avoid seeking promotions or raises, believing they do not deserve recognition. They may conflict with authority figures, projecting their complex feelings about their stepfather onto bosses and managers. Alternatively, they may become workaholics, finding in achievement the validation they never received at home, but never feeling satisfied no matter how successful they become. Their relationship with their own emotions is often complicated. Many of these adults have learned to suppress their feelings, having been taught that their emotions do not matter. They may be out of touch with what they are feeling, unable to identify or name their emotions. They may have a tendency to intellectualize rather than feel, to analyze their emotions from a distance rather than experiencing them fully. This emotional disconnection can lead to a sense of emptiness, a feeling of being alive but not really living. Physical health can also be affected by these early experiences. The chronic stress of childhood can have lasting physiological effects, increasing the risk for a range of health problems including autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular problems, and chronic pain conditions. The adult may engage in unhealthy behaviors as ways of coping with emotional pain, such as substance abuse, overeating, or self-harm. They may neglect their health, not believing that their body is worth caring for. The relationship with the inner child is another area where these effects are felt. Inside every adult is the child they once were, and for those who grew up with a stepfather's rejection, that inner child is often wounded and frightened. In moments of stress or trigger, the adult may find themselves reacting from that child's place, feeling and thinking as they did when they were young. This can be disorienting and embarrassing, especially when it happens in adult contexts like work or romantic relationships. There is also the complex issue of forgiveness, or the lack of it. Many of these adults struggle with whether and how to forgive their stepfather, and sometimes their mother for allowing the situation to continue. Forgiveness is a deeply personal process, and it cannot be forced or rushed. Some may find that forgiveness is necessary for their own healing, while others may find that they can heal without it. Both paths are valid, and it is important that the adult is allowed to process these feelings at their own pace. Despite these challenges, it is important to note that the narrative does not have to end here. Understanding how these early experiences shape adult life is the first step toward breaking the cycle. With awareness, with support, and often with professional help, these adults can begin to heal. They can learn to recognize when their past is influencing their present. They can develop healthier coping mechanisms and healthier ways of relating. They can build the self-esteem that was denied to them in childhood. They can learn to give themselves the love they never received. It is a long journey, but it is possible, and it is worth it. To truly understand the impact of growing up with a stepfather who does not love you, it helps to consider what childhood might have been like without this wound. It helps to imagine, with compassion and clarity, the difference between two paths: the path of a child who is loved and accepted, and the path of a child who is not. Consider two children, both 8 years old, both living in the same neighborhood, both going to the same school. One child, let's call her Emma, lives with her mother and stepfather. Her stepfather tolerates her presence but makes no secret that she is not his real daughter. He is polite but distant, involved with his biological children but not with her. The other child, let's call her Sophia, lives with both of her biological parents who adore her. When Emma comes home from school, she walks into a house where she is met with silence or, at best, a nod of acknowledgement from her stepfather. She learns quickly not to ask him for help with homework, not to share her successes with him, not to seek comfort from him when she is upset. She retreats to her room, where she is alone with her thoughts. Sophia, on the other hand, bursts through the door to find her stepfather. Let's say she has a present father, waiting for her with a smile. He asks about her day, he helps her with her homework, he bandages her knee when she falls. He looks at her with love in his eyes. The difference in how these children develop is profound. Emma learns that she is not worthy of attention, that her needs do not matter, that she must be small and quiet to avoid disapproval. Sophia learns that she is valuable, that her thoughts and feelings are important, that adults can be trusted to care for her. These lessons, learned at such a young age, become the foundation for how they see themselves and the world. As they grow older, these differences become more pronounced. Emma struggles to make friends because she does not know how to trust or connect. She watches other children with their parents and feels a mixture of envy and numbness. Sophia forms strong friendships easily, secure in the belief that she is likable and worthy of love. When Emma encounters a difficult situation, she panics, her nervous system flooded with stress hormones because she never learned how to regulate her emotions. Sophia can calm herself because her parents taught her how, modeling emotional regulation and offering comfort when she was overwhelmed. In adolescence, Emma may become withdrawn and depressed, or she may act out in search of attention, any attention, even negative attention. She may experiment with substances or engage in risky behaviors, desperate to feel something or to belong somewhere. Sophia navigates the challenges of adolescence with more resilience, supported by a family that loves her and a solid sense of self. She can handle the ups and downs of teenage life because she has a secure base to return to. When they enter adulthood, the gap widens further. Emma struggles in her intimate relationships, either avoiding them altogether or finding herself in dysfunctional patterns. She may choose partners who are emotionally unavailable or even abusive, because this feels familiar, because this is what she learned love looks like. Sophia builds healthy relationships, able to give and receive love in balanced ways. Emma may struggle at work, unable to assert herself, terrified of failure, convinced that any day now everyone will discover that she is a fraud. Sophia pursues her career with confidence, knowing that she is capable and deserving of success. But the comparison is not just about what Emma lost. It is also about what she gained in her own way. The child who grows up with a stepfather who does not love them often develops a unique kind of strength. They learn to be independent, to rely on themselves, because they cannot rely on others. They develop a keen awareness of other people's emotions, a survival skill that can be a great asset in many contexts. They often become highly empathetic because they know what it feels like to suffer, and they do not want others to suffer as they did. They may become resilient in ways that more protected children never have to become. It is important not to romanticize either path. The securely attached child faces challenges too. No childhood is perfect, no parents are perfect. But the fundamental difference is in the foundation. One child builds on rock, the other on sand. One child starts from a place of security and worthiness, the other from a place of insecurity and unworthiness. And while it is possible to build a strong life on either foundation, the effort required is vastly different. Understanding this comparison is not meant to induce despair in those who identify with Emma, nor is it meant to induce guilt in those who identify with Sophia. It is meant to illuminate the profound impact that early relationships have on human development, and to highlight the work that needs to be done when those early relationships were lacking. It is meant to validate the experiences of those who grew up without the love they needed, to let them know that their struggles are real and understandable. And it is meant to offer hope, because understanding the problem is the first step towards solving it. There is a profound comfort in knowing that others have walked the same path, felt the same pain, and found their way through to the other side. The experience of growing up with a stepfather who does not love you is not unique to any one individual. It is a universal human experience that has been described by psychologists, novelists, philosophers, and ordinary people who have found the courage to share their stories. Their words can serve as a beacon in the darkness, showing us that we are not alone, that healing is possible, and that our pain has meaning. The psychiatrist and author John Bradshaw, who wrote extensively about family dysfunction and its effects, captured the essence of the wounded child when he wrote, "The inner child is our sensitivity, our vulnerability, our spontaneity, our playfulness, our creativity, our ability to relate intimately, our capacity to feel emotion, and our capacity for spiritual awareness. When this inner child is wounded, all of these aspects of ourselves are affected." Bradshaw's work helps us understand that the pain we carry is not just emotional baggage from the past. It is a fundamental wound to our very being, a wound that touches every aspect of who we are and who we can become. The renowned psychologist Carl Rogers, who developed the concept of unconditional positive regard, understood how crucial it is for children to feel accepted and valued just as they are. He wrote, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." This paradox holds the key to healing for those who grew up without unconditional love. They spent their childhood trying to change themselves, trying to become worthy of love, never realizing that what they needed was to be accepted as they already were. Learning to offer oneself the unconditional positive regard that was missing in childhood is one of the most powerful acts of healing. The author and poet Maya Angelou, who experienced profound hardship in her childhood, including being sent away to live with relatives and facing abuse, spoke eloquently about the resilience of the human spirit. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." For the child who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, the feeling that remains is not a specific memory of a specific event, but a general feeling of not being wanted, not being valued, not mattering. This feeling can persist for decades, coloring every relationship and every experience. The novelist and playwright Tennessee Williams, who had a difficult relationship with his own father and struggled with mental health issues throughout his life, captured the pain of the unloved child in his works. In The Glass Menagerie, the character of Laura is a shy, fragile young woman who has been damaged by her mother's expectations and her own sense of inadequacy. While not specifically about a stepfather, the play speaks to the universal experience of growing up feeling like a disappointment, like a burden, like a person who does not quite belong. The philosopher and existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre wrote, "Hell is other people." For the unloved child, other people, particularly parental figures, can indeed feel like hell. But Sartre also understood the flip side, that other people can also be our salvation, that relationships are essential to human existence, that we need others to truly know ourselves and to heal. This understanding offers hope, because it means that healthy relationships, even later in life, can begin to heal the wounds of unhealthy relationships in childhood. The writer and researcher Brené Brown, who has studied vulnerability and shame, has said, "Shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging." This definition perfectly captures the experience of the child who grew up without love. They come to believe, deep in their bones, that they are flawed, that they do not deserve to be loved, that there is no place for them in the world. Brown's work also offers hope, because she shows that shame can be overcome, that vulnerability can be our greatest strength, that we can learn to believe that we are worthy of love. The psychologist and trauma expert Dr. Judith Herman wrote in her book, Trauma and Recovery, "The most basic task of trauma therapy is to help survivors restore a sense of safety and power in their own lives." For those who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, safety and power were taken away. Healing involves reclaiming both, learning to create safety in relationships and in one's own mind, learning to claim power over one's own life and choices. The famous psychologist Alice Miller, who wrote extensively about childhood trauma and its effects, said, "The truth about our childhood does not make us less of who we are. It makes us more." This is a powerful message for those who have spent their lives hiding their pain, feeling ashamed of their experiences, believing that their trauma makes them damaged goods. The truth is that their trauma is part of their story, but it does not define them. It is not their fault, but it is their responsibility to heal. And in the healing, they can discover a depth and strength that they never knew they had. These voices from psychology, philosophy, and literature remind us that our pain is shared, that our experiences are valid, and that healing is possible. They offer us not just understanding but also hope, not just validation but also a path forward. They remind us that we are not alone, that others have walked this path before us and found their way, and that we can too. Cinema has long served as a mirror for human experience, reflecting back to us the joys and sorrows of life in ways that can be both beautiful and devastating. For those who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, certain films offer a strange comfort. Finally, someone understands, finally, their experience is seen and validated, even if it is on a screen, even if it is fictional. The following exploration looks at films that capture aspects of this experience, offering not just entertainment, but also insight and catharsis. In the film Cinderella, the classic Disney animated version, we see a young girl who is forced to live as a servant in her own home, relegated to the attic while her stepmother and stepsisters live in comfort. While Cinderella's stepmother is more overtly cruel than many stepparents in real life, the film captures the fundamental dynamic of the unloved stepchild. The sense of being an outsider in one's own home, the relentless work and the lack of appreciation, the hope that somehow things will get better. Cinderella's eventual rescue by the prince can be seen as a wish fulfillment fantasy, a hope that someone will see us and love us and take us away from our pain. While this narrative arc can be comforting, it also has its limitations, as it suggests that salvation comes from outside, from a romantic partner, rather than from within. The film Annie tells the story of an orphan girl who is taken in by a wealthy businessman named Oliver Warbucks. While Warbucks is not a stepfather in the traditional sense, and his initial dislike of Annie is not based on step-parent dynamics, the film explores themes of a child trying to earn the love of an adult who does not initially care about her. Annie's relentless optimism and her desire to be loved resonate with the experience of the unloved child, who often maintains hope against all odds. The film also shows that hearts can change, that even those who seem cold and unfeeling can learn to love, offering a message of hope that is deeply meaningful for those who long for reconciliation with those who rejected them. The film Matilda, based on the book by Roald Dahl, presents a different dynamic. Matilda's parents do not love her, and they are not step-parents but biological ones. However, the film captures the experience of a gifted child who is neglected and dismissed by her parents, and who finds solace and validation in her relationship with her teacher, Miss Honey. This film speaks to the importance of finding at least one caring adult in a child's life, someone who sees their potential and loves them unconditionally. For those who grew up with unloving stepfathers, Miss Honey represents the idealized version of what they needed. Someone who believes in them, who nurtures their talents, who makes them feel valued. The film Good Will Hunting deals with the aftermath of childhood trauma, though not specifically stepfather-related. The protagonist, Will Hunting, has a history of abuse and neglect in the foster care system, and his struggles with intimacy, trust, and self-worth are depicted with great sensitivity. The film shows how therapy can help someone begin to heal from early wounds, and how love can gradually break down the walls that trauma builds. While Will's history is more extreme than that of most unloved stepchildren, the film captures the essence of the struggle, the fear of being vulnerable, the difficulty of trusting others, and the journey toward healing. The animated film Inside Out, while ostensibly a children's movie, offers profound insights into the workings of the human mind and the importance of all emotions, even the painful ones. The character of sadness serves as a metaphor for the parts of ourselves that we try to suppress or ignore, and her eventual acceptance shows that it is through embracing our pain that we can find healing. For those who grew up learning to suppress their feelings, this message is transformative. Their sadness matters, their pain is valid, and it is only by acknowledging these feelings that they can begin to move forward. The film The Pursuit of Happiness tells the true story of Chris Gardner, a single father who struggles to provide for his son while experiencing homelessness. While not about stepfather dynamics, the film speaks to the experience of a child whose father figure is struggling and cannot always be present. The son, Christopher Jr., witnesses his father's hardship and fears being abandoned, but ultimately learns to trust and believe in his father. The film offers a powerful message about perseverance and the bond between parent and child, even in the most difficult circumstances. These films and many others offer windows into the experience of the unloved child, validating their feelings, showing them that they are not alone, and offering hope that healing is possible. While watching these films can be painful, as they may trigger memories and emotions, they can also be profoundly therapeutic, providing catharsis and a sense of being understood. For those who grew up with stepfathers who did not love them, these stories can be part of the healing journey, helping them to see their own experiences reflected, validated, and ultimately transformed. We have traveled together through the darkness, exploring the shadows of an experience that millions of people endure in silence. We have felt the loneliness, the unworthiness, the shame, and the fear. We have seen how this early wound can shape a life, affecting relationships, career, health, and the ability to experience joy. We have learned about the inner world of these children, a world marked by hypervigilance, confusion, and a desperate longing for love. We have discussed how to help, how to communicate, how to create safety and validation. We have heard the voices of those who understand and the stories of those who have walked this path. And now, we must turn toward the light. First, let us acknowledge the strength it has taken just to read this far. To sit with such painful material, to recognize yourself in these descriptions, to confront wounds that you may have spent a lifetime avoiding. This takes courage. It takes a willingness to face the darkness in order to find the light. And if you have done that, then you have already taken the first step toward healing. Now, let us consider some principles of what might be called dark psychology, not in the sense of manipulation or harm, but in the sense of understanding the darker aspects of human nature and using that understanding to empower ourselves. Dark psychology teaches us that we have more control over our lives than we might think, that we can choose our responses to our circumstances, that our past does not have to dictate our future. It teaches us that the mind is both our greatest enemy and our most powerful ally, and that by understanding how the mind works, we can harness its power for healing and growth. One of the key insights of dark psychology is that perception is reality. How we see ourselves, how we interpret our experiences, how we frame our narratives, these are not just passive observations but active choices that shape our lives. For the child who grew up with a stepfather who did not love them, the narrative was written for them. You are not worthy, you are not lovable, you do not matter. But as adults, we have the power to rewrite that narrative. We can choose to see our experiences differently, to find meaning in our pain, to create a story that empowers rather than diminishes us. Another insight is that pain can be a teacher. While no one would choose to endure what these children endured, the experience has given them something: a depth of understanding, an empathy for others, a resilience that they might never have developed otherwise. Many of the most successful and inspiring people have endured tremendous hardship in their childhoods, and they have transformed that hardship into strength. The question is not whether the pain was fair. It was not, but rather what we can do with the hand we have been dealt. Dark psychology also teaches us about the power of identity. Who we believe ourselves to be shapes what we do and what we become. If we believe we are victims, we will act like victims. If we believe we are survivors, we will act like survivors. If we believe we are thrivers, we will act like thrivers. The choice of identity is ours to make, and it is one of the most powerful choices we can make. With this understanding, let us consider some concrete steps toward healing and transformation. First, acknowledge your pain. Do not try to suppress it, deny it, or minimize it. Your pain is real, it is valid, and it deserves to be honored. Allow yourself to feel it, to grieve for the childhood you should have had, for the love you should have received. This is not wallowing, this is necessary processing. Second, seek support. You do not have to do this alone. Find a therapist who specializes in trauma, join a support group, or connect with others who share your experiences. There is tremendous power in being seen and understood by others who have walked a similar path. You may have learned to be self-sufficient to a fault, but healing often requires others. Third, practice self-compassion. This is perhaps the hardest but also the most important step. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a beloved child who was hurting. Offer yourself the unconditional love that you did not receive. Remind yourself that you are worthy of love, that you are not defined by your childhood, that your worth is intrinsic and cannot be earned or lost. Fourth, set boundaries. Part of your healing may involve releasing relationships that are harmful, including, if necessary, the relationship with your stepfather. You do not owe him anything, not even forgiveness, if forgiveness is not what you need. Your first responsibility is to your own well-being. Fifth, find your passion. One of the best ways to transcend our wounds is to pour ourselves into something larger than ourselves. Whether it is art, activism, helping others, or creating something beautiful, finding a purpose can give our lives meaning and direction. Many people who have endured childhood trauma find that helping others who are going through similar experiences is deeply healing. Sixth, celebrate your resilience. You are still here. You survived. That is an accomplishment in itself. You have survived experiences that could have broken you, and yet you are still fighting, still hopping, still trying. That takes strength, and it is strength you can build on. Seventh, be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear. There will be setbacks, there will be bad days, there will be moments when the old wounds feel as fresh as they did when you were a child. This is normal, this is expected, and this does not mean you are failing. Healing takes time, sometimes years, sometimes decades. Trust the process, trust yourself, and keep going. Finally, remember that you are not alone. Millions of people share your experience, and they are out there, perhaps struggling just as you are, perhaps further along on the journey and able to offer guidance. Reach out, connect, build community. We are stronger together, and healing is better shared. The path from darkness to light is not easy, but it is possible. You have already shown incredible courage by facing these issues head-on. Now, take that courage and use it to build the life you deserve. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of a life that is not defined by your past, but inspired by your hope for the future. This is your moment of transformation. This is the beginning of your healing journey. And no matter how dark it has been, the dawn is always possible. If you or someone you know is struggling with the effects of childhood trauma, please reach out to a mental health professional. There is help available, and you do not have to face this alone.